So, following last summer's release of Summer of Hate, this 12th album lands Dandy Warhols in this grittier kind of post-punk era like we've maybe never seen you guys before. And I think that's thanks to the amazing collaborations in this album. I was really happy to see that joining on ROCKMAKER's legendary surf punk pixie guitarist and frontman Frank Black, and also absolute metal legend Slash, both helped to showcase this kind of new alternative rock roots sound combined with a metal punk and a driving guitar that maybe is a little bit new for fans. How did these collaborations come about?
Well, they're all different. Debbie Harry also is on the record.
Yep.
And that was just straight up, you have your people contact her people, and you send the song over and just the lyrics, and then you see what and then they came back and were like, yeah, this is great, she wants to do it. So that was amazing. We were managed by the same company as Slash, and we've been friends with him, acquaintances for 25 years at least. So that one happened rather quickly. I think we waited a month or something on Debbie, but Slash was we sent the track, and within an hour he had come back, and his people came back, our people got back to us, and to me, and then said, yeah, he loved it, he wants to do it, what kind of thing you're looking for, then I just sent him the wah wah, just classic, like Vietnam LSD is what I keep referring to it as. It's one of that original kind of acid tripper rock sound, which he has got to be absolutely the best on earth at. And
seriously,
yeah, God,
because like as soon as I'd like to help you with your problem started, as soon as I heard like the first 30 seconds, I thought, okay, well, it doesn't sound like Guns N' Roses, but I know that is Slash. It's like it's like a vocal. He is so recognizable, even in a new style, and it was like instantly noticeable. So when you sent him some work, he just like created it and sent it back and just blew your mind, or did you have an idea of that sound before you sent it to him?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He just, several days later, we got this tracks back, and it was so far beyond anything that we would have dreamed up. I mean, I just, Peter really is over the moon about it, because it really opened his mind to Middle Eastern and old Dorian mode and Mixolydian and all these crazy different ancient scales. And so Pete has kind of been working in that. He obviously, no one in the band has the chops that Slash has, so you can't just play Slash's part, but to have it live, Pete just worked out a bunch of those kinds of scales for himself. Yeah, it was really cool to really just have that be such a learning, pivotal moment, so not just is it great, but it's also like totally mind expanding for us. So that was rad. Frank Black and I have been acquaintances. Now he's a guy whose phone I just call him, when they're in town. I call him, yeah. So he had uttered the magic words, because I had hooked him up and four of his teenage sons with tours of the H.R. Giger estate and museum in Zurich. And so after that, he said, wow, the kid, the boys absolutely loved it. Courtney, and when you have teenage sons on the road with you, edification is everything. So he said, and he also said the important part of it, for the salient point was he said, if there's ever anything I can do for you, yeah.
And you're like,
Bing.
wow.
Funny you should funny you should mention that. So yeah, and we got him on two songs because Peter, who does most of our engineering, sent him the wrong track.
Oh,
And
happy
so
mistake.
I had to call him back and go, hey, did he send you the other one? You know, and he goes, nope, that's the only one. And I was like, can you play on another one? And he goes, yeah, just send it over. So we got him on Love Thyself as well.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Danzig with myself. By the way, as soon as I got the list of songs, I was like, mirrored right in. I was a Misfits fan, always. And so I was kind of like, all right, let's check this out. And I was immediately like, all right, I can hear a Misfits influence, but obviously the Frank Black guitar has this like fuzzed out, tinny, very familiar
Yeah.
sound if you're a big Pixies fan. So like you're mashing them together.
Yeah.
Did it
Well,
feel like that?
it wasn't so Misfits, as it was more like, because I'm kind of a fan of Danzig 4. I mean, I
Mm,
like all of the Danzig, Glenn and Rick Rubin working together. All of those records are really so cool and unique, and um, just the joy of adolescent joy of ripping guitars, and it's a slower. They're all slower tempos
yeah,
generally than I mean, not all like Twist of Cain, that it couldn't be a Misfits track, but it maybe could. I don't know. But Misfits, are more like Love Thyself, actually.
yeah.
Uh, that Love Thyself sounds more like a Misfits track. Um, but yeah, it started out like I just wanted to do this kind of industrial, slow, grindy Danzig 4 style thing. And as we added tracks to it, added more stuff to it, it kind of went Pixies ish. So it was only natural to want to get him on there,
Was
on
that the
that one.
working title or the title that just
Yeah,
felt like
that was the working title, and it just was too good.
it is
We
good?
tried to replace it, and Peter, Peter just said that, you know, early on one day, and we all just went like, "Oh my god, yeah, that's awesome. Put that in there." But that's led to Dancing on the Ceiling, Dirty Dancing. It's just you can just keep going with that one.
You really can. So let's talk about the
You make
video
me
for
you make me feel like Danzig.
um, so let's talk
Incredible.
about the video for "I'd Like to Help You." I'd like to help you with your problem. The song that you worked with the Slash. The video is AI. It's really wild, and right now, AI is the topic on everyone's mind. Either you're really excited about the creativity of it and where it can go, or you're absolutely terrified, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of understanding in the middle right now. What was the process of you guys putting that together? Did you have a lot of input in the final outcome?
The yeah, I mean it's a filmmaker that I've been working with for 20 some plus years. So, and we do, we work together. Uh, you kind of you start by we started with Summer of Hate, and AI had developed so far in the 4 months since we made that video. Uh, Justin had shown me kind of where it was at, and wow, okay, this we have to do this. We have to take advantage of this now before anyone else does.
Right.
And he grew up on the Oregon coast, and if you look online, there's a famous beached whale incident that happened down the beach a ways from his house,
Mm-hmm.
and it has millions of views because they blew up a whale and they effed it up, you
Oh yeah,
know.
I remember that.
Okay, so that's but what nobody remembers that he remembers more vividly is the new Carissa getting beached, filled with oil, and the idiots decided that it's gonna start leaking into the ocean, so we better set it on fire, burn off the oil. well, that of course compromised, the integrity of the whole, and
Yeah.
it broke, and it was an absolute disaster. And we were talking about that and kind of riffing on it, and go, well, now it would just be all over the internet. There would be, the protesters would first happen, all the locals and all the activists, would come out and like start attracting attention, and then people would be camping, and then it would be, and then people would be like, somebody would be like, hey man, my band's gonna play, and then they'd set up a bigger stage, and then somebody'd make a bigger stage, and then they'd have more bands and more DJs and more people, and then it would be advertised online, and then they'd be selling and it just went on and on, as you do when you get super stoned
Yeah.
and sit around and just let your mind riff out. And so that kind of is what we wanted. That's where we went. It was just make this happen. Now, working with AI, it will behave like a child, um, in that if you are if it starts to think that there's contradictions in your direction, in your cue, and in your cueing of it, um, it'll put weird shit in your project, and so uh yeah, what it does is it creates things in events. It creates little events, and then it's your job to put them into a chronological order, and to not use the ones that aren't in the world you decide you're trying to, you know make here. um so, four-headed fish, with duck feet will walk out of, okay, no, that isn't here, that isn't this video,
Right.
that kind of shit. So, yeah, that's the process. It definitely feels like a little bit, um, a bit like a person. It really is.
Now,
I understand. I understand it. The thing is it's just so good. It's just so
right,
good at it.
right, depicting
It's an
human.
absolute genius filmmaker. Absolute genius. It's Spielberg of visuals. So, and it is a tool. I don't see people. I'm in Denver right now. I don't see people. There's a lot of new construction. I don't see people digging with their hands.
Mhm.
You know,
It's
and
technology.
that's the truth of the matter. And there's no getting around it. It exists. I remember seeing Elon Musk on Joe Rogan, and he was saying, "Well, we need somebody to set some limitations on it, and we need them enforced because it is scary." You know,
Well, humans, I think
I
they're always
obviously
scared of
just,
things they don't
I'm,
understand. Don't you think?
yeah. There's that, and people are scared of things that they do understand that are scary, and we don't want that thing, firing off nuclear warheads, right? Getting
Yeah, yeah.
into, so we've got issues here, crashing the banks. It is a child, but it's a child that can totally crash the entire global economy of Earth, right? In my mind, um, and in rumor, right? That's it, right? That's the fear.
Hmm.
Uh, we hired one extra guy, so it's not putting filmmakers out of business. We didn't hire just Justin; we hired his buddy too. So we're actually employing twice as many filmmakers by doing AI. But really, that thing could make a James Bond movie.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, and in 5 years, there will be teenagers sitting on their laptop making James Bond movies. So
out there.
uh, yeah,
It's
it
interesting.
is what it is. It
It,
is what it is. It's
it
like
is
bitching
interesting
about
that.
your city getting gentrified.
Well, it is interesting that you mentioned that oil spill. Maybe I've heard a little bit about it, but when I was watching the video, I was kind of that was the imagery that came into my head in some of those like swirling scenes. When you were making it, did you have to like feed the AI those ideas of like the themes of and then it just built from there? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, yeah. But but it's, I mean, our guy that's typing in the words is typing really fast, and he is writing War and Peace. It is a long, constant running of the mouth steering process, and it is creative. It's also, it's inhaling the fog of the entire internet to understand what your words might mean. So
Nice.
it's a big playa, you know.
And you guys kind of harnessed it first. One of the first that I can think of. I mean, I'm sure there's been others, but harnessing a technology like that first and kind of delving into it really, in my opinion, shows how open-minded you guys are, how willing you are to experiment, how willing you are to take the fans with you on that experiment. I mean, I appreciate that. I think there's only reason to be afraid of something if you don't understand it. And once you understand things, you can kind of, make it work for you the way technology works for us now every day. I found it enjoyable. I liked it.
Hopefully,
I
yeah.
know there's problems with people worried about artists and how they're going to get paid, but I thought it was great. It's great to hear you've hired so many filmmakers to get this right because it felt right to me.
Yeah, yeah, thanks.
We talked about Debbie Harry. I had thought that that was a sample. So you sent her the track and she sent you back music because I really love that song. I thought it had the perfect ending to the album. It was like this gothic sound, but her kind of harmonies, her that saccharine sweet, but also punky kind of addition to that those kind of darker sounding, lyrics.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was a great ending.
it was
So it
amazing.
wasn't a sample.
I I I had sang it first in the rough mix. I sang it falsetto, and no matter how many tries I took, it wasn't gonna, it just wasn't what I wanted, and we're gonna have to layer on, Brent singing, and then layer some harmonies on it and all that stuff, you know. Um, but my manager, who our previous manager was a great artist himself. I mean, a great, truly great schooled musician. Um, and so he just said again, like, if you could have anyone, who would you have? And Debbie Harry is, there are three female vocalists that I are absolutely my favorite. And it's Marlena Dietrich, Astrid Gilberto, and Debbie Harry. So of course, I just said, Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, and yeah, just a Hail Mary into the end zone for the Super Bowl. And that one took a while, but God, when that came back and we heard that voice, it was another. It wasn't learning anything that we can do anything about and try to learn chops and learn how to sing like that or anything, but it was a learning experience in that it showed me what a truly great voice does in the right place.
Yeah.
It just sent that song into such sublimity. It's I can't stop listening to this whole record, but that one is definitely one that I get caught in a loop. Where I'll listen to it 5, 6, 7 times in a row. I'll waste an hour of my day just lost in that bliss. It
Well, it's
is
like
something
this
else.
dichotomous of sound between your deep, you know, uh, tenor of a voice and her kind of, a sweeter sound, but not sweet. It's kind of haunting. I'll say haunting a little bit. I really
Well,
thought,
we were going for that Lee Hazelwood, you know, kind of thing. Serge Gainsbourg with Bridget Bardot,
yeah,
you know, that crusty,
yeah.
somewhat spooky,
Mm-hmm.
haunted style. Yeah.
It was a perfect ending, I thought, to the journey we took from the beginning. I thought it was like you could close the book on it and be like, that was a perfect ending. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah,
And
Peter was adamant about ending with that one. He
yeah,
was, nope, that is the end. Nope, that is the end. That is the end of the record. Absolutely, he was there was no way of getting around that. It was, once he dug in, it was like pretty apparent that that is actually the end of the record.
Yeah, it sounded perfect to me. It sounded like the final breath, like, oh, okay, I've gone on this journey. I really liked it. And you're touring now. And I know it's been hectic trying to get this interview together because I've been sick, you've been touring, we've been trying to meet up. But you're playing in LA tomorrow. Do you still get excited about going on tour? Or is it sort of like the nature of the beast of a musician and a creative person? It's just one of those
No, I
things you
don't.
have to
I
do.
don't. No, we're touring too much this year. I get excited to go on tour when we do it as a kind of a fun rock vacation,
Mm-hmm.
a couple times a year. But this year we're working. We're a working band, and it's hard and it hurts, and it's a really hollow and bored loneliness uh, that you just carry around the world with you, and you have nothing to do except this one like hour and a half, almost every night, that can be that is beyond rewarding. It's totally psyche and life affirming in an all encompassing and beautiful way, and then you get off that high and you're still buzzed up, and there's nothing else to do but hang out and drink, and it's super. You can keep it together at first, like, but once the drudgery of the days um starts to really stack up, or pile up is more appropriate uh, term for what it feels like. It's just your body and your mind are it's very hard to not let it just affect you and become really depressing. And the shows get more intense the more horrifyingly depressed you get. Um, carrying around your gross baggage. You try to exercise, try to go for walks, but man,
Is there
yeah,
certain
no,
places on
it's
the
hard.
tour are you like, even though it's kind of the drudgery of it touring, like, I really love that city though. I have good memories there. I look forward to going back there. Were there any of that? Because I know after LA,
We
you guys
have
are
we
going
have
a world
friends.
tour.
Yeah, we have good friends in all the cities we go to almost, so get to see friends, and you get to go have lunch, and you get to you know laugh and hang out, here and there. But it's like, a lot of we've been doing this for so long, that a lot of our friends have kids, or you know have kids still, or have moved away. There, so it there was a sweet spot many years ago where it was fun all the time, and we were also, in our 20s. We were a bunch of 20 nothings, and have eternal energy, and you can just handle a lot more of that kind of thing. I mean, we would tour in a van and be out for long, huge period months, and didn't matter. It got weird, but um,
I don't
I,
want
I
to age
my
you, but I saw you guys, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was in my early 20s. And yeah, if I had to be on the road now, I think I'd be tired too. But I think that feedback from fans must be worth it, or else you guys wouldn't still be going out there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're on a record label that is, doing the right things, and they absolutely love the hell out of this record, and
Yeah.
they're devoting, you know, the bulk of their energy and time and thought into working it, and putting their money where their mouth is, and doing a pretty good job of it. So we don't want to let them down. You know, they
Yeah.
they're good. They're good people. They're good, smart, real no bullshit people. So so we are working extra hard for that, and just to try to get your art into the lives of people who would want it or feel like they need it. Um, that's that's the real goal. is is to just find your place in this world using us music, using music to find our place in this world and find our people globally, so that we can, once we're done with this hard working year, we can go back to just visiting places 2 or 3 times a year, where we go and we only play beach towns in Portugal, Spain, and France, that kind of. And that's, you don't make any money doing that, but at least you don't have to pay for that vacation. You just play. That's the payment, and it's awesome. It's nice to be able to do that. We're very fortunate that we can, particularly at our age.
Right. And you're playing the tour until what, September, and you're ending in Denmark, yeah?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got Australia, we've got South America, we've got Europe, we've got going back and hitting the Great Lakes because we missed them on this one, and other things will pop up, because we've got the record is creating. I can't believe how much press it's getting, how many podcasts, how many reviews, how many, and just 9 out of 10 stars, 5 out of 5 stars. It's really a beautiful, and I guess it's fairly easy to understand, because it's getting a hell of a reaction. So
And probably new fans as
yeah, I
well.
think I think we'll be able to. I think we'll be able to, continue to do this and not and enjoy it, for a few more years.
No, I hope many more years, as long as you guys still want to go on the road. And are you writing when you're on the road as well? Are you working on new music in the downtime, or are you just trying to survive
Not
the
at,
tour to
not
the
at
end?
all.
Not at
Not
all.
at all. No, no, not at all.
Not at
No.
all. So what would you
We're
like to say
just
to
in
the
tour
fans
mode.
who, like, I saw you guys in the 90s. There's people that have been around since, you guys have been around since 94, 12th album, fans devour everything that they get. What would you like to say to them that are probably going to come to the show tonight and tomorrow?
Yeah, awesome, man. Glad you dig it. Thank God. Thank God for you.
Without the fans, right? Whatever. I mean, you guys are just musicians without playing into the darkness without fans, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, man. Particularly because we're pretty anti everything, anything that's currently going on, any trend, we just like immediately like hate it. So we have to do things that are a little difficult in general for people to, you know, grasp or get with or whatever you want to call it. And our fans are just used to it, is what is next. Our last record was 4 hours long.
Right, technical music.
It's
Oh my gosh, that was what, 3.5 hours long. The reviews on that are so beyond anything you guys have done before. It was such a dive into some new thing. When I turned that on, I was like, wow, we are in a new place here. And then this
yeah,
album is just like a reversal of that into another new place.
yeah, absolutely. It's succinct and it's really tidy. It has a thing. It's a
Do you
thing,
just
and
reject that genre? You like, you don't want to be a genre. You're just rejecting that whole, and just like whatever
yeah,
interests you, we're jumping into.
they're all places to visit. They're all great places to visit. And our next record will be again a different thing. It will be radically different than this record, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's maybe what fans of you guys who have followed over the years expect, are hoping for, and even if they're like, well, maybe I didn't love this album, it's still something new. It's still something different. It doesn't sound the same. It's experimentation is the life of art, and I appreciate you guys for doing that. I appreciate this album, and I appreciated that album. I've appreciated all the albums that I've purchased, and I hope the fans check you guys out on this tour. I hope they buy some tickets tomorrow if there's any left in LA, and continue to follow you guys and this album and the next album. Thanks so much for talking with me today.